Hello, everyone, and welcome into College Basketball Talk with Miles Klotz. I am your host, Miles Klotz, and this is the start of a new show on Infinity Sports Network where I'll be talking college basketball. The show will probably be Sundays every day throughout the regular season and throughout the NCAA tournament. But for now, as we wait for the start of the season and I roll out some season preview shows for some of the major conferences, I'm hopefully be getting this done on Tuesdays for the next 3 weeks before the season starts on November 14th. So we've got a lot to talk about in this show. We're going to be going over the American Athletic Conference and the Mountain West Conference. They're not Power 5 conferences, but they both sent multiple teams into the NCAA tournament last year and have had a record of success. So we're going to get into this. I'm going to kick it off real quick. Just talk about the show a little bit. So basically, as I said, it's going to be every week. Hopefully on Sundays after all the games on Saturdays. I'll just be going over. I'll talk every conference from the ACC to the Mid-Eastern Athletic. I'll be talking all types of teams. I love talking mid-major teams. I'll be talking all types of teams. But over the next couple weeks, I'm going to preview the American today, the Mountain West today. Next week will be the Pac-12 and the SEC. Then the Big Ten and the Big 12, and then the ACC and the there's another conference that I'm forgetting, so I'm sure I'll think of it when I just start presenting. But anyway, I'm going to get right into talking about the American Athletic Conference, and I'm going to preface this by saying, yes, I am a UConn Huskies fan, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to be completely honest, and I'm being unbiased in these results, and I from other predictions that I've read, I think it's pretty clear that UConn is again the favorite to win the American Athletic Conference. I mean, they won the conference last year, they won the national championship last year, going on an improbable run from a 7th seed, defeating teams such as Michigan State, Iowa State, Florida, and Kentucky. Excuse me. Kevin Ollie obviously comes back after some NBA speculation. He was in the NBA as recent as 2010. He's good friends with Kevin Durant. There was some speculation maybe he would go coach the Thunder, but obviously he's back for his third year. He led the Huskies to a very successful season under the first year when they were ineligible for the postseason. They went 20-10, 10-8 in their last season in the Big East. Probably would have made the tournament, but obviously they weren't eligible due to previous violations. But last season, obviously a great season going on and winning the national championship, as I said. So this team, however, did lose quite a bit. They lost Shabazz Napier, who went 24th overall to the Heat. Was traded to the Heat. He was the jack-of-all-trades player. He really led this team in multiple different dimensions, and he really pulled a run that reminded UConn fans of Kemba Walker in 2011. When he just took over games. He scored 18 points a game last year on 43% shooting and 40% from the three-point range. And he also had 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals a game. So for a 4-year player, he really did well, coming out and being a really solid contributor for this team. And then DeAndre Daniels was only a junior, but he decided to declare for the NBA draft. He was selected by the Raptors with the 37th overall selection, but signed with the Perth Wildcats of the National Basketball League in Australia for this upcoming season. But he could be a factor in the NBA in a couple of years. He's a great rebounder. He would have been a very good player to have in terms of depth for the Huskies this season. Also leaving is Neil Jafai, who graduated, and I believe he's playing somewhere in Europe. I can look at that. Tyler Olander, who was a reserve center. Lasan Chroma, who was another solid player. He tried out for the Nets, I want to say, in the Summer League. Yes, Niels Giffey is playing for Alba Berlin, and he tried out for the Grizzlies in the Summer League. And yeah, Chroma tried out for the Nets and is playing for a Hungarian team. So they all went on. And then sophomore Leon Tolksdorf, who didn't get a lot of playing time, transferred to American University. And Tor Watts, a reserve guard, who got almost no play time. He graduated also. So coming back this year, obviously, the top returning scorer is Ryan Boatwright, and he averaged 12.1 points per game. But the player that could be coming out, I really think, this year is Amita Brima. He only averaged 4.1 points per game, but he averaged 2.3 blocks in 16 minutes a game. So he was really a very strong player in terms of blocks and rebounding. For a guy that really, I guess he's very raw, but he's 7 feet tall. He has a lot of potential. So he's a chance to be a really big impact player this year in terms of what he can do on the team. And then Daniel Hamilton, who's a 6'7" freshman, brother of Jordan Hamilton, plays for the Nuggets, I want to say, Denver Nuggets. Daniel is from Los Angeles. Some speculation over whether he would not sign his letter of intent, but he ended up signing, and he is now part of the team. He should be an instant starter as a guard forward, playing 2 and 3, really making some impact there. He's really a pure scorer who can get stuff done. And then also coming in the class, Sam Cassell Jr., a junior college guard, and Rakeem Lubin, who is a power forward, Georgia prep product. They should both have impact this year. But the biggest guy that I want to talk about is Rodney Purvis. Now, Rodney Purvis transferred from NC State last year and had to sit out the year, but he did practice with teams and was allowed to sit on the bench during home games. I would also expect Rodney Purvis to start this year, probably get some time playing the 1. He's a really talented player. He just wasn't getting the time he wanted when he was at NC State, so he ended up transferring. But as a redshirt sophomore, he can really make a difference this year. And then there's more size. Kenton Facey comes back. Philip Nolan obviously comes back for his junior season. They've got some size. Omar Calhoun might, he had a very good freshman season, really disappeared last year. Could be interesting to see what happens to him, but let's go down over the schedule right now. So the Huskies started off with a home game against Bryant. Should be an easy win. And then they go to Puerto Rico. They've got College of Charleston, who obviously, if you haven't heard, endured the long, tough offseason with Coach Dave Wodchick leaving due to allegations of sexual assault and blah, blah, blah. And they took way too long to hire a coach, and basically that. Then they'll play either Texas A&M, Texas, I'm not sure. They'll play either Texas A&M or Dayton in the second round. I can not positive who the other teams in that competition are. This year it's Texas A&M, Dayton, Charleston, UConn, New Mexico, Boston College, George Mason, and West Virginia. So not a supremely good side. I don't think any of those teams besides UConn's are going to be ranked. It's actually, UConn was ranked 15th in the first coaches poll. The new AP poll has not been released yet. Following that, very interesting game at Gamble Pavilion in Stores. Texas at home. Texas, I'll talk about them in my Big 12 preview. A contender for the Big 12 championship. If any team's going to unseat Kansas this year, I think it's Texas. That's on November 30th. Then they've got a couple easy home games against Yale and Coppin State. Those are in Hartford and Stores. And then in East Rutherford, they play Duke at the Izod Center. That should be a really fun game to watch. I think Duke's my number 1 team in the country, but I'll be interesting to see what they do from there because Duke is just really, really talented, and I wonder how Duke now, with all the talent that they have, will be able to play against UConn. I think they really have a chance to really be a solid team that can really make an impact here. Then after that, there's easy home games against Columbia and Central Connecticut, and then it's off to the conference schedule. But they have 2 non-conference games during the conference season, and they're both away games against teams they played at home last year. Last year they beat Florida at Gamble Pavilion on the last-second buzzer beater. This year it's in Gainesville on January 3rd. Last year pretty sure they beat Stanford, and they got Stanford in Palo Alto this year. So not the weakest non-conference schedule, but I wouldn't say it's like beefed up either. But anyway, I'd expect this team to win the American again. I think they're really the class of this conference. They brought in good recruits. They got good players back. Do I think they'll win the national championship again? No, but I didn't think they would win it last year, and they proved me wrong. So I guess we'll have to see where it goes. But their biggest challenger this year is going to be the SMU Mustangs. Now, the biggest news for SMU going into the season was Emmanuel Mudiay, who's from Dallas. And he committed to SMU, a 5-star point guard. And so everyone was really excited because he was going to be an instant starter, contender for Freshman of the Year, top 5 NBA draft pick. And then in August, he decides he's going to go sign in China. Now, Moutier's family said that it was based on money, but the news was indicating that because he went to Prime Prep Academy, which is a school that's kind of like a basketball school, if you guys have heard of Findlay Prep or Huntington Prep, they're kind of basketball schools. Their Prime Prep has never had its academic courses approved by the NCAA to establish player eligibility. So the rumor is that he would not have been approved to play. So he decided to take the money in China and sign with the Guangdong Southern Tigers to get a chance to play in China. Now this is a big hit for SMU because they didn't grab any other recruits this year. So they really needed Moutier, and he would have been a big player. The good thing is that they have players to replace him. Keith Frazier showed signs of improvement as a freshman last year. And then Nick Moore, who's, well, I'll get to him later. But Nick Moore is very talented. He's a very good guard. So a backcourt of Nick Moore and Keith Frazier is not completely out of the picture. I think that's a really talented backcourt. And then you've got the front court, which is led by Marcus Kennedy. And Marcus Kennedy is I think he can really break out this year. 12-7 last year on 53% shooting. They bring back almost all of their forwards. They lost Sean Russell and Nick Russell, and Sean Williams and Nick Russell, who were teammates from Duncanville, Texas. They both graduated. They were both guards. But this team brings back a lot of forward depth. And that's really something that's important when you're playing in this part of it, when you're playing in conferences like this, where forward depth is really an important piece of the puzzle. So I would expect SMU to be tough, but their schedule's non-conference schedule's not difficult, but it's got some tough parts. First, they've got Lamar at home. That should be an easy win. Then they've got 2 away games that I would expect to be their toughest 2 non-conference games of the season. Well, no, maybe not their toughest 2, but they've got 2 tough ones. They're at Gonzaga in Spokane for the ESPN College Hoops Tip-Off Marathon, and then they're at Indiana at Assembly Hall. Now, I understand Indiana's down, and they're not the same team that they were a couple of years ago. But Indiana really has a chance to turn some heads this year, I think. I think they're really talented, and I would expect SMU not to be rolled over in that game at all. Then they've got 8 straight home games. The toughest teams they're going to play in that homestand are Arkansas and Wyoming. And if I had to be honest, I would pick them to win. Excuse me. I would pick them to win both of those games. I like Arkansas. I really like Wyoming, and I'll get to that later. But I would pick SMU to win both of those games. And then, December 20th, they travel to Ann Arbor to play Michigan. And that, I think, if there's any game on the schedule that's as sure of a loss, I like SMU, 22nd in the coaches' poll. I like Michigan more. And I think at home it'll be tough for Michigan to lose, but that'll be a fun game to watch. It'll be on ESPN2. So I'll definitely look into that. And then obviously the conference schedule. They've got 2 games against UConn late in the year. So that will be fun. And I think one of them's scheduled to be on College Game Day. So that'll be fun. But the non-conference schedule, not super difficult. Well, it's got 3 difficult away games and 2 difficult home games. I'd give it a solid strength of schedule, probably maybe a B+. I'd say it's pretty good. Good job by the program to schedule it. Larry Brown has done a really good job as a legendary NBA and college coach to come back and really take control of this program. I think that it'll be difficult for this team to really... I think it'll be difficult for this team. I don't know. I just don't see them winning. There are a lot of people that think SMU can win the league. I guess I just don't see it. I think they're talented, but